Wow, this full moon is a tricky one. It's really, really tricky. I feel like it's really pushing us out of our repetitive patterns. And at the same time, it's pushing us into the acceptance of the repetitive nature of life itself and of the cycles. And so we keep finding ourselves at points of consciousness where we've kind of been before, that we recognize, feel familiar. And at the same time, we're challenged to not blindly repeat, but to actually integrate the growth of consciousness that we've had, to actually change something and do something different and really recognize. And in doing that, we have this intense moment of self-realization. And also by doing that, we suddenly maybe feel a bit more a sense of freedom and hope and motivation, because we realize that even while things are repeating to an extent, it's not always the same, and we can actively influence something to be different. We can take part in that development, in that growth. So it might also bring us a deep, fulfilling experience of feeling like we are a higher version of ourselves. And now let me read something to you. This is from the book An Astrological Mandala, which has 360 symbols for each degree of the zodiac. And where we have the full moon, where the moon is sitting, this is the symbol. An indigenous person weaving a ceremonial blanket. The keynote is projecting into everyday living the realization of wholeness and fulfillment. It may sound very mystical and far out, but there is a moment in every cycle where an individual, no matter how small the degree, may be confronted with the potentiality of fulfilling an act of self-realization, and may ever so relatively find themselves clothed in light for an instant. So this is where we have the moon. This is what we're feeling. We're feeling this being clothed in light for an instant. We're feeling this moment of self-realization. We're also already in the next phase of what I mentioned in the last video, really the cycle of understanding how to reframe things for ourselves, right? Letting go, changing our relationship to what letting go means, which is actually changing our awareness of things and choosing to relate differently to something. And now we're fully feeling also the very positive impact of that. How do we positively relate to things? How do we come together as a group? How do we use social interactions to support us in our journey? Yeah, whether you are seeking mental and cognitive stimulation by having interesting conversations or debates or political discourse with people that you haven't met before, and having that really contribute to your awakening, having that enrich your mind with fresh ideas and new perspectives. Or whether it be you're going through a difficult breakup and it's your network that is really there to carry you through this time, to remind you of why you are choosing this, and to also physically support you in all of the steps that you need to do right now. It's also those networks of people that are coming together and that are creating these new mechanisms of politics, of change, of consequences, of actions. Now, I feel that this full moon is a tricky one also because we have the sun, we have the moon in opposition. Mercury is entering into 0 degrees of Scorpio, which is gonna really make that a very important degree for this full moon. And what the Sabian symbol shows us there is an eagerness to expand one's social horizon and experience the results of collective achievements. Now, I find these are very, very positive energies right now. It's a very uplifting current of energy. But at the same time, as I mentioned, it feels very tricky. So one of the reasons why I think that it feels tricky I'm going to share more about that in a moment. I just first want to say welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back if you've been here before. My name is Jennifer Irene. I'm an astrologer, a tarotist, I'm a transformational mentor, and this is the Web of Wonder. I'm here to share insights and perspectives with you that are hopefully going to inspire you and also bring you a lot of compassion for yourself and for others, along with many, many insights about what's going on energetically right now at this time. So yeah, one of the reasons why I find this is also a bit tricky is because we have the sun, we have the moon in opposition, already tricky, and then we have a square to Jupiter. Jupiter is in Cancer, and what I'm feeling that does is it's really like expanding our little box of what we know are actions and ways of seeing ourselves and seeing life that make us really feel comfortable. And that are ultimately, not in alignment with what we actually need to be able to fully feel our emotions. A very interesting topic that is surfacing very strongly for me recently is how to heal yourself and to use your body and to support your own healing powers of your own body, which yes, we all do have. So in order to do that, you need to understand how are you kind of developing and limiting, and to understand how that box is actually contributing to you developing certain symptoms, because that box is so strict that it doesn't allow you to naturally oscillate between one and the other. It doesn't allow you to experience the different ways of choosing and behaving and acting that nature has to offer in order for a true balance to be achieved. And you also need to understand, where does that box come from? Yeah, it comes probably from the home, what you think you need to feel safe, what you think you need to feel accepted, to feel loved, to to be compassionately viewed in the world. And so that's a very interesting topic, because it really confronts us with our shadows, with what has been suppressed, what has been hidden. Now, Mercury entering into Scorpio is further drawing up all of those unsaid, unspoken things, these really subconscious ways of behaving, and how are they contributing to the almost autonomous reactions in your body that aren't completely behaving on their own, but you can prime them, you can change them, you can influence them. But in order to do that, you need to go into diving a little bit deeper into how those things were shaped and formed in the first place. And so now is a very, very good time to go deeper into those healing journeys. Yeah, healing those relations with your peers, with your partners, with your family, and also with yourself, with how you relate to the environment, how you interact with life, and the things that you are exposing yourself to. How does that in turn affect you on a deeply emotional level? And how are the things that you think are there to make you a better person, to make you a positive person, to protect others, and to be just very joyful all the time, how are those things actually limiting you from expanding a true ability to feel emotions? Which is really what we need in order to be healthy. We need to allow the emotions to flow through. We need to allow the natural currents to move unhindered, so that they don't get stuck, so that we don't hold onto them and manifest them as something that we then turn into a chronic symptom. And when I say we need to let it flow through unhindered, I'm not saying that we need to act out everything that those emotions want from us. But it means to sit, to acknowledge the presence, to acknowledge the reality of what is the emotion, to acknowledge its being, and to relate to it, to consciously relate to it, asking it a question, speaking with it, and really discerning, why is it here and what would it need and want? And reclaiming also your ability to discern, your ability to choose, your own willpower, your own desire. Because that is also what this moon in Aries is helping us do. It's helping us connect with the strength of understanding, what do I really need as an individual, but also what do I need from the world and what does the world need from me? We have a water trine between Jupiter, Mars in Scorpio, and the North Node in Pisces. So this energy is really helping us to move those emotions. It's a really, really incredible moment, actually, to just finally relieve yourself of all of those limitations. And it doesn't matter if that has to do with the political party that you've been following for the past years, or the diet that you've been identifying yourself with, or the group of people that you just hang out with, or how you spend every single weekend. It can be anything, and it's going to show up for all of you in different ways because you're unique. But for sure, it's going to encourage you to really take actions to confront yourself with what's uncomfortable, and really ask yourself, how are you really limiting yourself from feeling more healed, from feeling more healthy, from feeling more loved, from being able to receive and offer and give more love because of those attachments, because of those identities, because of that part of the ego that is afraid of an energy, to meet it, to confront it. Yeah, I'm very passionate about this topic right now, and even so that I've been creating this whole entire journey, this whole entire 6-week program to move all of those reflections, to really get deeper into deeper layers of understanding why your symptoms are showing and what it could mean for your life. So if you're interested in uncovering from like a health perspective your own stories, I'll share the information below. I'll offer a little introduction course about that soon before the 6-week journey, and then I'm going to open up the registration for diving really deep into that for people who are really wanting to get serious about making a change in their life. So if you also feel that you're ready to just let go of why your body is constantly aching and in pain, and what all of your symptoms are trying to really tell you, then I think this might be the perfect moment for you to proactively do something about that. So yeah, check the information down below. I'll link it and you can have a look. I also think it's very interesting that we have, aside from the moon and sun being in opposition, they're also making an aspect to Vesta in Sagittarius. Now, Vesta, also called Hestia in the Roman and Greek mythology, is the sacred flame. It's the goddess of the flame of the temple, but it's more so than just being the goddess. It's the sacred flame itself. It's the fire itself, the sacred hearth in the center, the sacred stove, the sacred fire, the part of you that is lighting you up from your core. And so in Sagittarius, that is all about expanding, about moving beyond the horizons, about allowing yourself new perspectives and learning. It's about studying and going beyond what you've known and making maybe a different level of effort than what you've been showing before. Vesta is in sextile to the sun and in trine to the moon. This is important, yeah, and it's supporting these aspects, these questions. It's supporting this wondering about what I am, what I feel, and the usual I am this, it just might need to expand into something new. The usual I feel might be changing and transforming into something beyond the horizon of what you thought you could feel. And also on the other side, Libra, this you are, when we say you are, it's also expanding. It's just not encompassing the whole truth anymore. And also when we put ourselves into context, I am a part of this. Maybe you're not even sure what that is anymore. Maybe you're not even sure why you're a part of that. And so slowly these kinds of concepts are starting to dissolve. Very, very strong ego dissolution moments. I also felt this already with the last transits last month, that we are kind of going through this collective dark night of the soul, where we are really kind of losing the usual identifications. It's just that we can't really use the same things that we used to rely on to give us sense, to give us hope, to make us feel good, to make us feel valued. It's just somehow not really working anymore. And so with that loss of function, also our identity starts to shift. We start to melt, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing because it means that you are also able now to expand. You're able to move, and that is being alive. Being alive is movement. Being alive is changing. Being alive is developing. And that's nothing horrific. It's something very natural. So reminding yourself also of what is something very motivating for you, something positive that could come out of this. And it's so essential that we keep on motivating ourselves and giving us beautiful images in the future to look forward to. It's so essential because it feeds that inner flame. And especially right now, think of it as the wood that you add to the fire to keep it going. Is you need those visions, especially also with Neptune in Aries in 0 degrees. It kind of shows us both of those things. Neptune dissolving the illusions about the ego. Let's also be very, very careful not to immediately latch onto a new identity. Let's try to find some comfort in this kind of middle ground of not knowing and not being super fixated on one or the other identity right now. That's also kind of what I was trying to explain in the last video with the concept of instead of letting go something, which might lead to also this extreme identification of now I'm the person without this thing or without that person, or I'm the person who let go of this, because that's also, again, this over-identification, just like on the other extreme. But maybe there's a different way where we don't just let go and now we're not the person without on the other side, but we're actually just relating differently to the entire thing, to the entire concept. And instead of letting go, we're changing our relations and just allowing yourself to be for a moment in that space without identifying yourself in this extreme way, to connect again with your heart and what your heart will naturally bring as a momentum. With Neptune in Aries, it can be really helpful also to create positive visions, to create things that you look forward to in your mind. And I think sometimes we're afraid of having all of these illusions and these imaginations, and what if it's not becoming true? We actually need that to be motivated. We need that to want to be healthy. We need that to want to live. At least many people do. But the tricky part here is to understand which kinds of images, which kinds of ideas and beliefs and dreams for the world will become a motivating goal for the future, and which of those are keeping you limited in a limited way of how you see the future could evolve, and to change the way of thinking there. So the big question is here how to change these toxic beliefs that are actually holding you onto something that actually really doesn't feel good, and transforming it into something outside of the box, outside of the scope that you have even been considering, and creating an actual desire that is connected to your personal inner flame, that is connected to something that will improve your life. And Neptune is trining also quite precisely Juno, which is also in Sagittarius. So I think it's really important to focus on what are those long-term dreams that you had for your life before you started ultra-identifying yourself with whoever is the person or the group or the political thing or whatever it is that is kind of really maybe keeping you stuck. And remembering what are those commitments that you made to yourself when you were maybe a child, when you were still allowed to dream and think outside of the box. And how do your visions for yourself right now, how do they support those things? and allowing the transformation to ultimately guide you into those really, really motivational feelings that are connecting you not to being motivated in a way that you're attached to certain outcomes, but in a way that you're motivated by feeling an ignited lust and joy for being alive again. Those are the types of motivations that we want to be focusing on right now, because those are the ones that are really going to widen the horizons and bring us momentum, move us forwards, and really connect and feed with that inner flame. With Venus and Taurus touching upon the South Node right now, I think we will have very strong moments where we realize, where we deeply feel which of those values are feeling like they're things that keeping us stuck, and where we really feel like, how are we evolving? Is this a direction that actually connects with the beauty in life that we want to experience? And is this really something that is a repetitive cycle? Or is this something we're doing out of being inside of a comfort zone? Or is this something else? And of course, many of these long-term transits are still going on. Pluto trining Uranus and Gemini, and Neptune moving also very, very slowly. So this is still a very long process that we are in, and we are in it. And it's happening. And if you look around in the world, you will see that there are many, many changes happening already. There's things that have been not happening in a really long time. And it's very crazy. It's very chaotic. Yes, it can be overwhelming. And it is also important for us to, at times, take moments to rest, to step out, to pause, to reflect, and then to go in again. And it is very important, especially at this time, to stay connected, to stay collaborative, to stay together with people who you feel truly supported by, and who you feel are helping you to also make an impact in your life and in the world in the way that you truly wish to see it. This is a moment where we are all experiencing the bliss that we can, and the fulfillment that we can achieve if we really begin working together. It's a really good moment to get together with people, like-minded people, but also maybe people who have different perspectives than what you've been used to hearing and feeling and talking about. And to also meet up with those really supportive people in your life who have really always been there, who have always had your back, and show them some love, see if they need something. If you need something, reach out to them for help. Yeah, get inspired, inspire each other, motivate each other, because I think we're so often afraid that if we motivate each other and we give ourselves false illusions or false hopes that if it doesn't come true, then it will be a really immoral thing to do, to give somebody false hope. But I actually believe that we need to give each other hope, and that it's the more immoral thing to do to actually not give hope, because hope is energy, life, desire. Hope is motivation, and hope is what we need to want to live. And it's totally necessary for us to have goals and visions about the future, and you're not doing anything wrong by giving someone hope. You're helping them have life energy in order to move, in order to do. And everybody needs to discern for themselves what their ideal vision of the future looks like. But giving each other hope is a requirement, especially in these times. So don't be afraid, don't shy out, just follow your heart. Because how we feel and believe and think and speak about something, it influences the outcome. It changes the probability. It might not mean that everything will exactly fall into place, but it affects the probability. There have been studies to show this, that what you expect to happen affects the probability and the likelihood of that something to happen. And so the power of what you do believe, what you choose to believe, has an impact on what may happen. So if we can all get together and have positive hopes, if we can believe positive things, will also increase the likelihood of those positive things to happen, because also it's priming our actions and our behaviors. that are influenced. They're influenced indirectly and subconsciously, and also consciously and directly. I believe that we have the power to influence. I do, you do, collectively we do. More about the next months I'll share in the upcoming videos. There's always more that could be said. It's a huge, vast cosmos of information, and for this cycle, I wish you all the best to have the realizations that empower you, to have the courage to allow more flexibility within the structures that you have put up for yourself, so that you can really allow things to be moved, emotions to surface, to be released, new emotions to be invited in, and to really understand the power of the movements of life and how to flow with them, how to communicate with them, how to enable movements that you want to strengthen to also become stronger by connecting, by communicating, to remember that nothing and no one is alone. We are all connected. We are one consciousness, and we are many, many different unique expressions of that consciousness. You are amazing. You're beautiful. If you are interested in going on a healing journey together with me, the information will be down below. We are going to start in November, and if you want to join a little workshop connected with that already in October, you can also already have a glimpse into how this work will be feeling, and also to already get to know me a little bit better. And so thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It will help me so much. Also, if you subscribe to the channel, I'd be super happy. If you want to share it with somebody that you love and care about, they will be super happy. And I really, really hope to see you next time again. All the best from me to you. Lots of love, and until next time.